So we are beginning with a new topic for this 10th standard, new lesson, and that is life process 2, one of a very interesting and an important topic, right? Okay, so all of you are able to see my screen? Sundar, Dipali, your video is on?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Last time we had completed that lesson on life process 1, correct? So after completing life process 1, we have seen what exactly is the meaning of a life process, why it is necessary in order to sustain life, correct? And the different processes we have seen because of which life is able to sustain on the earth. And we are talking about life. That means it is applicable for all the living organisms. Okay. All of you keep your videos on. Sundar, Dipali. Yeah. Okay. So continuing from that itself, life process 1 may we have seen nutrition, metabolism, respiration, assimilation, correct? Transportation. And one more important thing that we discussed was cell division. All of you remember cell division properly? Understood that? Mitosis, meiosis?
Yes, sir.
Right? So cell division, we have seen mitosis and meiosis, and we have mentioned the fact that it is only the process of cell division in which you get new cells, right? So based on that, this life process 2, the next lesson is only about one life process, which is reproduction. Okay, so entirely about reproduction in living organisms we are going to discuss. Okay, that's the reason in life process 1 you have studied about cell division also. Okay, yeah. So can anyone tell me what is the meaning of the word reproduction? Yes. How do you mean? It's not a new term for you, correct? So what is the meaning of the word reproduction? Dipali, are you there?
Birth of new generation.
Okay, the birth of a new generation. Okay. Dipali, what is your answer? Yes, Dipali, you are there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're not seen on the screen. Okay. Sundar, you also. So, Dipali, tell, how do you define or explain the word reproduction? Yes, Dipali?
A birth of new generation.
Okay. Same thing is Sundar has said. Ishika, what is your answer? Ishika?
Birth of new generation.
Okay. All of you are giving the same answers. Birth of a new generation. Okay. See, if you see the word reproduction, okay, and if you split up the word into 2 parts, so you can say reproduction can be divided into the words re and production. Okay. So simply, literal meaning of the word production in English is to manufacture something or to create something new. And when we are using the word re, that means again. So when you say reproduction, that means producing something again and again. But here the word again signifies something else. Okay, here we are talking about in general reproduction for all organisms, not only humans or birds or anything, every living organism, right from a microorganism to the largest of living beings. Okay, so when you say reproduction, that means producing something new again. But the word again is highlighting or pointing towards the fact that the new individuals or the new generation, what you said, is of the same species. That's a very important point. Agree with it? Harsha is here.
Yes,
Hello,
yes.
Harsha. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Yeah. Okay. So, Harsha, we have just started with the new topic, life process 2. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, reproduction mainly means producing new individuals of the same species. That is a very important underlining principle of reproduction. It's like a cat will always give birth to cat. कभी गलती से हो जाता है मिस्टेक कि cat is giving birth to puppies. Does it happen? Never.
No.
Correct? You take a mango seed and sow it in the soil, the plant which you will get out of it will always be a mango tree. Getting it? That means any species will always give birth to individuals of the same species. That is the main point of reproduction. Getting it? That is one common thing. Even if you talk about it for a very small organism like amoeba. So one amoeba will reproduce and you get two daughter amoebae. Getting it? That is something without an exception, nature follows it. And that is the underlining principle behind reproduction. Okay. So here you can see elephants in the wild. So they always give birth to baby elephants. Correct? Which animal is this? The second one. Very cute, cuddly ones. See how their young ones are nicely sticking to their parents. Any idea which animal it is? They are koala bears. Okay, so you can see the young ones are there, and the young ones are aware that this is my parent because the parents are protecting them. So that is some very interesting phenomenon called parental care, which you will study in the classification of animals also. That's an evolutionary feature actually. Okay, the adult elephants, they take care of their young ones, right? This koala bears, see how the young ones are carried by them. This animal, you know, very commonly you must have seen if you go to hill stations or such places, right? A lot of monkeys will be there, and you must have seen how the tiny baby monkey is attaching to the mother, clinging to the mother, right? And then the mother is like jumping from one tree to another with the baby in the arm. Correct? So such a high degree of parental care you are able to see. Which one is this? The one below?
Kangaroo.
That's a kangaroo. So you know very well it is able to carry the young one in its pouch. Correct? So it's not a pouch which is something which a tailor has sewn for it. It is in the body, right? So it is nature has devised it. Okay, this is a interesting thing. You can carry your young one in a pouch. That's a separate group of mammals actually. Okay, this you must have seen cats with the kittens, right? All the kittens are trying to feed on the mother because cats are mammals. They don't lay eggs. They directly give birth to young ones. Correct? And this one also, another baby monkeys and all you can see. See how the young one has climbed out of the bird. So when you talk about reproduction, it's like the common word that we use is young ones, or they are also called as offsprings. In all these examples, you have seen that the parental generation and the young one generation is of the same species. That is a very important point. Otherwise, imagine what would have happened in the nature if the species would have been different every time. That means till the time the young one is born, they don't know which species is going to be born. अगर ऐसा होता तो nature would have been full of chaos and confusion, right? You take a apple seed, you expecting a coconut tree out of it or something like that. So nature does not prefer it, right? That is the important point. Okay. So here also you see in the previous photographs you have seen all the higher animals, but reproduction is a universal phenomenon. Okay, taking place in every organism. So here you can see small plants, the seeds are germinating. Okay, grasses like seeds are coming out. Here also you can see the seeds are just germinating. So these are seedlings. This is just a germinated one. Okay, here can you tell me what is this third picture? Okay, it's looking like some smoke has coming out, right?
Spores.
Yes, they are the spores and these are fungi. You know fungus,
Yes.
right? So a lot of fungi, especially in this season. If you go to any, you can say natural area, okay, there is a lot of such spores. So you just smoke, just they are very tiny spores which are released. They are all spreading out everywhere. So they will all land up at a certain place, and wherever the conditions are favorable, the spores will germinate and you will get new fungus. That's their method of reproduction. Okay, what are these below that? Something in the water.
Yes.
What are the young ones of a frog known as?
Tadpole.
These are the tadpoles which are hatched from their eggs. Okay, and see this butterflies you must have seen, but the young ones of a butterfly look very different. If there's a butterfly, these are caterpillars. So when the butterfly will lay the eggs, there will be larvae, which are the caterpillars that will hatch out of the eggs. And they appear like this. You can imagine this is the young one of this one, but they look so different. Getting it? Because there are different developmental stages. So some animals exhibit this property also. Okay, there will be a larva, okay, ultimately developing into a pupa, which will form a cocoon around itself, and then from the cocoon the new adult one will emerge. Okay, so reproduction sometimes follows this metamorphosis also. Getting it? Okay, and what are these?
Fish.
No,
Fish.
they look like fish, but they're not fish. They are the larva of mosquito. Okay, this is the season where lot of cases of malaria occurs, right? पेपर में पढ़ा होगा malaria, dengue वगैरह बहुत बढ़ रहे हैं. The reason is this is the season where there are a lot of small stagnant pools. In order to prevent malaria, it is always advised that do not keep any place having stagnant water. Even road में गड्ढे वगैरह रहते हैं, पानी जमा हुआ रहता है. Okay, small flower pots at home where you put water and it remains over there. They are the places where the mosquitoes lay eggs, and these are the larvae which hatch. Getting it? Okay, so in all these examples also you have seen the different ways in which organisms reproduce. Okay, so this is just an introductory picture. Okay, and you have understood an idea that in the biological world the methods of reproduction can be very different. Various methods are there, right from plants to animals to microorganisms, including human beings. Okay, but the basic principle is always the same. Okay, there is one Greek statement. Okay, it is said omnis cellula like begets like. That's a statement. Okay, there is a statement called like begets like. That Greek statement means that every species will always give birth to individuals of the same species. Getting it? All these examples that we saw, mushroom, fungus, a frog. Okay, see, it's like frog and all we are playing using common names, but frogs, there are many species. Okay, it's like in the water also you'll see fishes. There are so many species of fishes. Getting it? So species ka meaning bhi alag hai, but for now, for your understanding, when you say species, that means one group. It's like human being is one species. Okay, so the underlying fact about reproduction is that like begets like. Understood this point? Introduction is clear. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
See, that's what I mentioned. Every species, every organism reproduces to give rise to young ones of the same species. That's a fixed rule for every species on the earth. Okay, that's a very important point. And when you say reproduction, it is the one and only life process by which new individuals can be produced. Okay, understand, we are using the word individuals. Individual matlab an organism, any species. Getting it? Any new organism can be produced only by reproduction, by any method of reproduction. But and propagation of species means what? Why do organisms reproduce? And why it is called as a life process? Any answer? Why does reproduction take place and why it is a life process? Yes. Because only when reproduction takes place, the species are able to propagate. Imagine any one species, consider human beings. Okay, at present, at this point of time, all the human beings on the earth, which are one species, if they all stop reproduction, no further reproduction, no new human beings formed, what will happen?
Species of human being extinct.
Correct. At one point of time, all the existing individuals will die and there won't be any new individuals to propagate. If all human beings will just wipe out like that, at one point of time, we will say that the species will become extinct. Imagine the species which have already become extinct, like, dinosaurs. Can you get them back in any way?
No.
Right? We cannot get them back because it would have been possible only if the dinosaurs would have been there and they would have reproduced. Any such extinct species you can see, we call them extinct because their individuals are over. We cannot get them back. So reproduction is the only process by which we can maintain them. Are you aware about something called endangered species?
Yes.
Yes.
Correct. Endangered means the species which are in less number in the wild. Their numbers are depleting very fast. If you don't protect them, they will get extinct. So that means what? We have to conserve them by preserving their genes and making them reproduce. That's the only way to increase their number. Okay. So reproduction ka main significance is that, and only when reproduction takes place, there is a new generation produced. Okay, it's like the parental generation and the young one generation. So only by reproduction, the characters in the form of genes are passed on to the next generation. Getting it? Okay, so that phenomenon is known as heredity or inheritance. We have already done that lesson. Okay, so it is only because of reproduction that the characters can be transmitted from one generation to the other. Getting it scientifically, that is a very, very important part of reproduction. Okay. Two main types of reproduction are known. Okay, they are asexual reproduction and the other one is sexual reproduction. Okay, two types of reproduction. First, we will broadly see the main points of differences between them, and then we will see the different methods of asexual reproduction and then the different methods of sexual reproduction. So here in this lesson, because it is life process 2, that's the heading under which we are studying this. So we have to understand reproduction as a life process across every group of organisms, including microorganisms. Getting it? So we have to discuss it right from the lower organisms like microbes, going on to the higher ones, all the way up to human beings also. So there are a lot of aspects which will be covered in this lesson. And it's a very, very important topic. Is it clear, everyone? All these points are clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this background is very, very important. Okay. See the differences between asexual and sexual reproduction first. Okay, this is a very important question, and this understanding is also equally important. Okay, so what is the one major difference, see, between asexual and sexual reproduction? Asexual reproduction is a very simple process, and that's why it takes place faster. But sexual reproduction is a slow and a complicated process, a complex process. We will see the steps and everything. Okay, but that's a one major difference. Secondly, in asexual reproduction, only one parent is sufficient. Normally, when you say parents, a parental generation, we say two parents. Okay, we say one male parent, one female parent. I hope you are aware about the difference between the words male and female. Of course, yes, right? In ninth standard, you had that lesson on heredity and which one was a variation? Mendel's laws and all you have learned, right? Monohybrid cross, dihybrid cross. Have you done that in ninth standard?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Right? So then that while making that cross, you must have used the words male, female and all. So the basic difference between asexual and sexual reproduction is in asexual, only one parent is enough. In sexual reproduction, there are two parents needed. One we call the male, other one is the female. Okay, again, remember, this is for all organisms we are telling. So in the case of plants also, there is a male part of a flower and a female part of a flower. Even in animals. Getting it? Okay. You have studied cell division in the previous lesson. Mitosis, meiosis. And we have seen the one major difference between them, that mitosis is the one we call as equational division. And meiosis ko bolte hain reductional division. Okay, because the chromosome number does not change in the daughter cells during mitosis, and in meiosis the chromosome number becomes half. So during asexual reproduction, the only type of division which takes place is mitosis. And there I had mentioned a word called gametes. See, the 4 daughter haploid cells which are produced during meiosis, unko hum bolte hain gametes. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yes, that's a very, very important part, right? So in the case of sexual reproduction only, the gametes are produced. No gamete formation during asexual reproduction. Okay, because meiosis is not happening in asexual reproduction. That's a step taking place only in sexual reproduction. Okay, and that's why gametes are produced. So there are male gametes and there are female gametes. Okay, now in case of asexual reproduction, as you can see in the 6th point, okay, the young ones are exactly the same as the parents. Now, when you say exactly the same, it's not just based on the looks. Here, the word exactly same refers to the genetic composition. See, whatever genes are there in the parents, the same genes exactly as it is goes into the young ones. And that's why the young ones are not better known as young ones or offsprings. The correct word for them would be clones. It's like they are creating the Xerox copies of the parents. Okay, but in sexual reproduction, what is happening? The young ones are similar to the parents, but not same. There is a difference between the words similar and same. Getting it? Okay, so the young ones genetically will have some genes common with the parents, but some other genes not common with the parents. It will be a different combination. It will be a shuffling. And that is happening because in sexual reproduction, there is something called meiosis which takes place. Meiosis is the one that gives rise to variations. Okay, you remember meiosis when we discussed. Okay, so there was this prophase 1 of meiosis 1 in which there are 5 steps. And that is the one in which there is a exchange of genes between the chromosomes. जिसको हमने बोला था recombination, also called crossing over. You recollect that?
Yes.
Yes, that's a very, very important part of meiosis. So that is the one which gives rise to variations, differences. And these differences are the one because of which sexual reproduction is more advanced over asexual reproduction. Though asexual reproduction is a quick process, faster, more number of offspring, the young ones are produced, clones are produced. But sexual reproduction is the one which is having more efficiency. Because in every generation, there is a difference in the gene. There is a variety in the genes that are created. And because of that variety, it is suitable and it is better for evolution to take place. Because with every generation, the environment changes. And the organisms are better adapted to that existing environment, which the clones of the asexual reproduction are missing out. That is why if you see higher plants and animals, including human beings, majority of them undergo only sexual reproduction. There are asexual methods also, but the ones which are more efficient and good for evolution is sexual reproduction. Did you understand this point?
Yes.
So the broad idea behind asexual and sexual reproduction is clear properly.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So we have seen the differences between asexual and sexual reproduction. Okay. Now we have to start with the different methods of reproduction, one by one. Okay. Okay. Just do one thing.